Hello everyone and welcome to James Talk Sport. The Men's Cyclocross World Championships has just rounded out what has been an amazing weekend of racing. I'm going to take you through each of the races right now and give you some very short, brief little thoughts. So racing started in Bogense. It's very fast with a technical sort of middle section and an off camber climb just towards the end of the lap. But overall, very fast, right by the sea, so it's got a little bit of headwind, a little bit of tailwind. Um, so it's harder than people think. Let's put it that way. But starting with the men's juniors, Ben Tullett, defending champion, was trying to retain it after a tough year against the Belgian Armada. Um, those that would have competed were Thibaut Nace, Ryan Kurtens, Wietse Meusen, and those are the four that sort of, established themselves early, even though Tullett had a slow start. Couple of laps in though, Ben Tullett decided to bridge over to the two Belgians, Meusen and Cortens. And then instead of sort of just waiting for them to attack, he just decided to ride them off his wheel. A few mistakes, particularly on the off-camber section. Meusen slipped a couple of times in front of Cortens, opens up a gap, and Tullett was just able to hold on for the win. 20 seconds ahead of Meusen and 27 seconds ahead of Ryan Cortens. The amazing thing, though, in his first attempt, Thibaut Nace, Sven Nace's son, 17 finished in fourth place. So you could almost guarantee him being world champion next year, potentially. Yeah. Next race was the men's under 23 World Championships again yesterday. This one was seen as the Pidcock Isabit battle, mano a mano, see who wins. With Antoine Benoit, Thomas Kopecky, Ben Turner, Ryan Camp sort of thrown in as a sort of added extras. So started off sort of, fast as always, but Elliot Sabit was the one that really decided to take it up in the first couple of laps. He was, really trying to forge that gap. Pidcock had to go in for a bike change, and basically he was trying to drop Pidcock straight away, put the hammer down, and he blew too many matches, really. Way too many. And when Pidcock finally made it to the front of the crate chase group, he very quickly brought that back down, and going into the main straight, if you've seen it, he left people behind it. I think Duragoni was behind him, and he left caught Isabit, and as he caught him, he just hit it and hit it hard. Isabit, you could tell straight away that, barring catastrophe, Tom Pidcock was going to be world champion. After that, is a technical, just consistent. Pidcock's one of these few guys at this age group level that is able to do consistently. I think it was 555, 557, 556, 555, but throw in that winning lap of 544 that he did to win the race and attack. That's when he made his move. Behind, Elliot Sabit was sort of resigned to, maybe even not getting a medal before he eventually rallied and finished second. Antoine Benoit was 23 seconds back in third place. From a British point of view, now, 2 years ago we completed the set 1, 2, 3 in the juniors. Two of them were in the top 10. Ben Turner was 6th, Thomas Main was 9th, Dan Tullett was 19th, and 19-year-old Cameron Mason, who, if you get a chance, check out his YouTube channel. It is incredible. Yeah, he films races, he films how he does it, he films training and things like that. It's brilliant watch. Was in 30th, so that's 5 Brits in the top 30, whereas 4 or 5 years ago that would never have happened in a million years. So that's 2 world champions for the Brits. Onto the women's race, where we, Nikki Bramier and Helen Wynan, course, had the course been perfect for them, they might have been able to win. This was probably the most unpredictable race going. You know, out of the girls that finished in the top 20, 14, 13 of them, 15 of them have picked up wins this year. So yeah, you could have anyone's guess. Yolanda Neff, the mountain bike world champion, she starting so far back, finished well. Yeah, so the race was, what can you say? It was Dutch against Sana Kant. And Sana thought she was going to get worked over by the Dutch team, but it never really happened. And she won. Last lap again. Brand made a couple of mistakes in the race. I've not seen it, about a pit lane crash as well. So yeah, and on that last, again on the off camber, which you'll hear about later on, she made a mistake, and Sana won by 9 seconds with Marianne Vos in 3rd place. Probably it will be the oldest podium in a long time. Sana's 29th, Brand is 30th, and Vos is 32. So in the women's side of it, it's still that experience that comes out. Whereas in the men's, Van Aert, Van der Poel, Van der Haar have all started young. Yeah, behind them, Bramier was 8th, 15th was Wynan. Crumpton was 26th from a British point of view. So yeah, decent racing in total. Kaylee Keogh was a very, very good 7th place. Surprising that she wasn't she was the top American. We thought Katie Compton would be, but she struggled. Yeah, good to see Sophie Deborah back. A quick note on her. A couple of years ago, she was her and Sana were the 2 best and biggest riders. She's had a bit of a tough sort of year and a half. So it's good to see her back, heading towards her best. Hopefully next winter we'll really see her coming back and fighting it out. So that was Saturday's racing done. Today's racing kicked off with the under 23 women's race. British point of view, we had Anna Kay, Harriet Harnden, Anna Flynn, and Maddie Wandsworth. Did a very, very, very good races between them. Most of them the first time. They would be in the juniors category normally, which is coming out next year. Anna Kay is the under 23 national champion, and she's been up there in races as well. So perfect. So the racing, I didn't see it again. I was elsewhere, but Dutch 1-2-3, you'd have thought Celine Del Carmen Alvarado would have taken the win, but actually no. Even though she's been dominating the under 23 World Cup and even podium and winning one or two races in the elite category, she seemed to struggle somewhat. She'd get the gap and then close it, of what I've heard, and she actually ended up finishing 3rd, not far behind, but also not far ahead of 4th, 5th, and 6th. I apologise for pronunciations. Fleur Nangast was in 2nd, and Inge van der Heiden won the under-23 Women's World Championships. Anneke was fifth, which is a fantastic result. But again, majority in the top 10 have a couple of 2 or 3 years left in the under-23 category. So if they didn't want to go up a level, they could stick it out and battle it out for another world title, which would be entertaining to say the least. If you're going to do a junior category, let's have a quick look at the results. Puck Pieterse from Holland would have taken the win in the juniors. So, yeah. Next year there is a juniors category, as I said. So, hopefully that will breed more and more junior female racers. That'd be really good to see. On to the main event, the sort of showpiece of it. Van der Poel, Van Aert, Toon Aerts, Van Tornout, throw in Lawrence Swaite, Van der Haar, Quentin Hermans, Joris Nieuwenhuis has had a good year, and it's the men's cyclocross world championships. Van der Poel won this on this course last year in the World Cup Series, not far ahead of Van Aert, and Toon Aerts was in third. The race started off quite fast. Van der Poel led it a bit, and Toon Aerts exchanged lead. Van Aert. But then it sort of settled down a bit. There was a massive group, even on the end of lap 2. And then Van der Poel decided to make a little bit of a move. And Toon Aerts, rather eagerly, decided, I'm going to follow that. I want to take the race on. Wout was behind him. They could have worked together to try and close that gap. Wout eventually did close the gap to Mathieu, and they spent a lap or two trading turns, but not really working together to try and pull away. The other group, the group behind containing, at that point, Felipe Orts, Van der Haar, Swaik, Van Tornout, and Toon Aerts, they were 45-50 seconds back, so the two main guys didn't have to worry. But as with the women's race, the off-camber uphill towards the end of the lap proved to be the difference. I think it was on the 4th lap. Van der Poel took it perfectly. I think he only got one time wrong out of the 12 laps. And Van Aert didn't. Van der Poel got a small gap, and as with most cyclocross races, in fact all but 2 cyclocross races, Van der Poel was never seen again. Almost flawless. There was a few little slide outs, and as I said, he got one off camber section wrong. Van Aert decided rather sensibly, I think the dismount would have been the best for that, just to guarantee him staying safe, keeping that rear neck off the floor, and allowing him to get a medal. Towards the end of the race, Toon Aerts was beginning to catch Van Aert. I didn't expect him to catch him. And then on the final lap, when they were together, Toon was getting a little bit of a gap. And then on the final drop back towards the road and the tarmac, Toon came down, and that was it. Wout was going to finish second. 16 seconds behind Mathieu was Wout van Aert. Toon was 25 seconds behind. Behind them, Van Tornout, Lawrence Swaite, Van der Haar, Hermans, Marcel Meisen, Jans Adams, Gianni Vermeesch. Joris Nieuwenhuis in his first elites was 13th. Steven Wouters, 15th. Van Kessel, after a good start, fell away to 17th. From a British point of view, Ian Field was 37th. From an American point of view, the best American was Curtis White in 21st. Best Frenchman was Fabien Canal. Michael Borosh was 14th. Bertolini 16th. Um, Esteban was 27th. Yeah, so all in all, a very, very good race. Um, as expected, it was the right top three, probably in every category. Um, the order you can always dispute. That just comes down to what it was on the day. But Toon, Wout, and Mathieu have been the best men. Brand, Voss, and Kant have been the best women. Alvarado's been, and the Dutch girls have been the best under 23 females. Pidcock and Isabet, Benoist, and Tullet, and the two Belgians were the best. So ultimately, no real surprises, but I mean, yeah, it's great. So yeah, that's the end of James Talk Sport. It's quite a long one today, just because there's a lot to get into. If you have any questions, comments, or queries about what I've said, please comment. Please like and subscribe as well. Next one from Cyclocross will be reviewing the season as a whole. Not a lot to talk about probably, but I'm sure I can find some other stuff for you. Next up, road wise, will probably be a small review of the first couple of weeks of racing. We've had a lot of racing in Australia, Argentina. I will stay away from the controversy that's happened out there, just focusing on the racing. So I'll see you then. Thank you very much, and toodle pips.